Welcome back to Coaches at Crown Brew Getting Coffee. I want to say thank you again for tuning in and listening and watching. And as we approach the Christmas holiday, we will drop this next week, and then we'll take a little break from this and give Ross and Abby some time off, and then we'll come back in early January and we'll pick right up where we left off with some great coaches and some great interviews and great conversations. Thank you to Crown Brew for letting us do this today right here in their facility. Good cup of coffee that Bobby and Simpson and I are enjoying, and we appreciate the guys at Adrenaline Fundraising and all they do. Just heard from one of those guys today, and it's always great to hear from my buddies at Adrenaline. They do an amazing job of helping coaches raise money, and that's a tough thing for coaches to do, but it's necessary in this day and age, and so Jeff and Matt will take care of you. I want to thank Swinford Media. I mentioned Ross and Abby. They're busy with their college work, but they come in and they do this podcast, and they edit it, and they film it, and they just do an amazing job and make this easy for me, and I think we're doing a good service by bringing coaches in and having conversations about the athletics in Southern Illinois, all the sports. But mainly I want people to see what these coaches do and how they do it and what a heart they have for our kids. And today's guest is Coach Bobby Simpson, Harrisburg native and a guy that has a tremendous baseball background. We got to know each other. We worked together for a while at Marion High School, and we had a lot of conversations just like this today during lunch hour mostly, out in the hallway. And I'm a Dolphin fan. It's a struggle. You're a Cowboy fan.
That's even worse.
It might be worse because the expectations for you are always greater than for me.
Well, we always think we have a chance of getting in the playoffs, and I just want them to lose so I don't have to watch them anymore.
Yeah. So we talked about that pretty extensively, about the struggles of our NFL teams. We also talked a lot about life and about the coaching profession. And man, it's just great to have you here. I appreciate you saying yes to this. You're not in the area anymore, and so you're home for Christmas break, and we worked out this date and time, and here we are today, and let's jump in.
Well, I'm honored to be here. I think I enjoyed those times so much because, I mean, the halls that Ryan Godisky's put together, I mean, I could talk to you, I could talk to us, joy. I mean, it just such a hotbed of people that know how to win.
Yeah, it really is. It's a special group. It's a special time, and I always tell them, don't take this for granted, because you have a collective group of great coaches at Marion High School. And then as I've done this podcast, just realizing how many great coaches there are in Southern Illinois, we're pretty blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're one of them. And so let's start, Coach, with your childhood. Tell me about growing up in Harrisburg and your parents, siblings.
Well, it was just blue collar, old school. You know, growing up in Harrisburg was your dream was to play football, play baseball. I mean, that's all you thought about. From the junior high level on, we had Kerry Martin was, he's a junior high coach.
My neighbor.
I know, and he. I mean, we're running plays in PE to get us ready for freshman year.
Yeah.
But played a lot of, never travel ball until like 6th grade because we just couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
You just rode your bike down and played park league.
Yeah. Kind of a lost thing, you know. That sandlot ball was special.
Yeah.
You know, I loved growing up playing that. And there weren't a lot of travel ball opportunities, of course, when I was young. But now we'll talk about that. It's a huge deal. There is an expectation in Harrisburg to play, to be an athlete. I don't think they shun you if you don't, but I think you grow up longing to be a football, basketball, wrestler, baseball player, track runner, something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those were our idols. Those guys, the high school guys. I mean, I would play cup football while their games were going on and hear their names and pretend that that's who I was, you know.
Yeah, wad up the wax Pepsi cups.
And they started like flag football, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever, you know, on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I had a similar upbringing that I always tell my players that wherever I've coached, kids know the difference between a high school standout, a college player, and a pro player. I mean, they haven't differentiated that yet. So make sure you understand that they look up to you, and it's a big deal.
It is.
You know, you may be so in high school team. To them, you're Marshall Falk. I mean,
well, and I think now with social media, it's so crucial to take that into consideration.
I do too.
Because everybody does. They know your business.
Yeah.
But that's your own fault if you're putting it out there.
yeah,
too.
that's true. That's true. There is responsibility. You played baseball and you played football. Anything else?
Tried basketball, terrible. I mean, me and my buddies in church league and on the playgrounds thought we were good, but no, it was. But you grew up in that situation too. That was time to work on baseball.
Yeah.
When football, as soon as it was over, let's go.
Yeah. Did you favor one or the other?
I think mentally I favored football because I didn't have to care or think. That wasn't my future.
Yeah.
I was 5'8", 155 pounds.
What position did you play?
I was cornerback,
Yeah.
so just go cover the fast guy. I'm the guy in video and film day on Saturday tying guys' shoes together and just messing around because I didn't have to worry about all that crap.
Yeah. Baseball, what position?
Second base, sometimes shortstop. Pitcher actually because could throw a curveball for a strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had great high school coaches?
Oh, the best, Coach Way, Coach Thompson, absolutely.
God.
I mean, my idol will always be my dad. That was the core. But I think with learning how to hate losing, it was probably a good thing, but also a curse because there's no happiness in the coaching sometimes. After a loss, like I can remember Coach Way coming down the halls and I'm running the other way. I don't want no part of that action. And Coach Thompson, man, if you lost, it was the next game better hurry up and get here because it's going to be miserable until then. And I can't shake that. I can't.
It is a struggle. And as a player, I really struggled with on the field losses and failure.
Yeah.
I carried that into coaching, especially when I was young, of losing sight of what really mattered and getting really down when we lost and maybe too high when we win. And I rode that emotional roller coaster for a long time, and it is taxing on you.
I still do it. And you picked football, which you have to wait 6 days to do anything about it. I picked baseball where you're never really going to win because, the old adage, if you're 3 for 10, you're a good hitter. Well, you're failing 7 times.
Yeah.
And as a hitting coach, I brought that on myself. It's like there's no happiness to it.
Yeah, it is a struggle, and I think that's one of the big challenges of coaching is that the longevity becomes an issue if you can't learn how to maybe handle that better. And I used to go into every season, coach, and thinking, I'm going to handle it better this year, right?
I had kids in college when I was the head coach. Their job was to pick my hat up when I threw it. I buy Oakley sunglasses. That was a waste because they're busted the first 2 games. So I got gas station glasses and quit wearing a hat.
I get it. I appreciate that honesty because it is a challenge, and because you put so much into it, you care so much, and I think you want the kids to succeed. You want to succeed, and I know at Harrisburg there was an expectation of success in every sport. So when your high school career was over, you played college ball?
Yes. Went to Chicago. We talked about, you got to forgive me, man, the concussion thing, but I want to make that aware. It's a serious deal that playing football, playing baseball, it took its lumps, man. And, there needs to be more awareness of memory loss and things like that.
And baseball has it too. It's not just.
The worst ones I've suffered was getting hit 12 stitches, 6, broke my nose, broke that orbit. Still haven't recovered from that one totally. There's double vision and everything else, but I want to bring awareness to that. It's an issue. But chose to go to a very high-powered junior college called Triton out of high school. They go to the World Series, wanted to win. Wasn't ready for that move. Homesick, very close to my family.
Sure.
Thought I was a big dog coming out of Harrisburg, like I mattered. But once I got up there, I figured out, hey, no one cares. I used to have, I worked for a guy that was very tough. like when I was 28, I think, and he would say, nobody cares. I'd be like, God, dog, man, that's tough. He's so right.
Yeah.
Man, when you get out of that hour radius of here, nobody cares. So,
Yeah.
like, I can remember standing up and saying, hey, I led Southern Illinois in stolen bases. The guy next to me stood up, said I was Mizuno All-American. I turned down a draft to come here. I was like, yeah, I know my role here. But came back to Southeastern, had some good years at Southeastern. Probably should have made that choice first.
Yeah.
And then went to Arkansas Little Rock. Injury plagued, probably blessing in disguise, made me know that, hey, it's time.
What injury?
Well, the junior year was concussion, bad, ran into the left fielder, never recovered, broken foot, and speed was my game.
Yeah.
Once I broke my foot, that was it. And that was it. But, you know, I don't dwell on that because those years they don't help my kids that I'm doing right now, other than to tell them, hey, cherish it, cherish every moment.
Yeah, and I think that's a great piece of advice for kids that are in that situation, to make sure you enjoy every opportunity you get to play, because it can be very short-lived, and you don't know. I interviewed a young man last week who had a stellar high school career and then an injury at Cincinnati, and he never got to be the quarterback or baseball player that he envisioned he was going to be because of that one play and that one scrimmage. And so never take it for granted. Why did you, when you are done playing, did you know all along that coaching was the next step, or was this something that came about a little bit later?
Well, I knew there was nothing else really I was going to be able to do. I mean, I went to college for 9.5 years. And everybody says, were you a doctor? I go, no, I got a sociology degree. I don't know what that means. I have no clue. So I was just hanging on. Hey, I had it figured out. I took out one loan. I never had to pay for anything. I mean, I was living the best life ever. I didn't have to work. But yeah, the hitting thing was always an obsession with me. Even when I knew that I didn't have it anymore, I knew that that was my calling.
You go back to SIC, and that's your first coaching job?
Yeah.
Who was the head coach?
Jay Birch. I made $950 the whole year.
I knew Jay Birch from SIU.
I saw him play one time. He wore number 6. I wore number 6. I thought, oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Funny how things work out.
Yeah.
Gave me open reins to kind of do what I wanted to do. And then, being the young guy, I was kind of arrogant, puffy. I knew it all. And, the game humbled me really quick. There's always somebody better.
Do you know this? I know he left and eventually went over to Indiana.
Yeah, he was a Santa Claus.
I want to say that Jay Cutler, am I correct on that?
I don't know.
I want to say that was a quarterback at the high
because
school
then Cutler went to Vandy.
Yeah.
I
think that's right. And so Jay and I went to church together at Aldersgate and Marion, and we got to know them even better. And then I remember when he left, and we had some contact about a quarterback he had that he said, hey, he's special. Yeah. And went on to a
Well, it's weird because I can remember things like that, but if you ask me what year that is, I don't know.
How long were you at SIC?
I think it just 1 year there, and then actually we had 2 guys that did real well. When a 4-year coach came up and asked me who to look at, I told him, and luck had it. One hit a home run, one pitched real well. He offered me a job on the spot to go down and coach NAIA in Georgia.
Berry College.
Loved it.
In Rome, Georgia.
Yeah, loved it.
Your role there, hitting coach?
Recruiting coordinator. Took a lot of Southern Illinois kids. It was NAIA. Really not too many rules we had to worry about. We took some kids from Logan, some kids from Parkland. We played well, played real well.
When you take the step, you leave SIC, you go to, what are you gathering new information?
I think that was the thing. It was like, okay, I've done this level, let's go. Never being complacent. What are other people doing? What's out there? Yeah. I've just always been, I don't fault anybody who wants to stay here.
Yeah.
But it's a big world. Yeah. And, when you tell me how unique Cave and Rock is, I went to the Grand Canyon. You know, so when you tell me how unique 82 to 84 is, I just got back from seeing 92 to 94. You know?
Pitching
And
velocity.
And so, again, I just never want to beat my chest and be happy and say, oh, I know it all, because I used to be that way. I think when I had the ego, and man, there's always somebody better.
Do you feel like that as you left Southern Illinois and you went to Arkansas Little Rock, or you went to Berry College, that it broadened your view of just how many great players are out there, or even like you saw the big picture?
Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think if you know, I got some buddies that are like, hey, don't talk to a guy if you don't want to know what's real.
Yeah.
Because nobody's got time to, you know, stroke your ego and say, oh, it's going to be okay. You're either good enough or you're not.
Yeah.
You know, there's no black, white, or gray. It's black, white. You're either good or you're not.
Yeah.
And so I think people have a hard time with reality. Like, I used to make guys bring in a list of 10 schools that they'd want to go to, and I'd be like, no. And they'd leave there being mad at me, and I'm like, you asked me. I've been around.
Yeah.
What, you going to tell me you're going to TCU when, you know, no JUCOs are even talking to you right now?
Right. So the next step after Berry, how long were you at Berry?
Berry 2 years.
2 years.
I would have been there longer. Dad passed away that year, so I had to come back.
So you came back home.
Yeah.
And you started a hitting company, a hitting organization called Future Swings right here in Marion.
Yeah.
Was it the first of its kind in Marion?
No. Well, in Marion it was. There was a guy named Joe Liss in Evansville that was doing it. Jerry Halstead kind of put me on to him. And then Joe Thompson and Bob Sykes were doing the one out of Carmi.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was the first one in Marion, but it wasn't the first one.
What was the response? You're going to have this place where people can come and get lessons on how to improve their hitting. Was it baseball only, or was it?
It was some softball too. The response was good because I always had a good relationship with coaches, high school coaches.
Right.
I mean, they were the core of the success. So some guys would not get along with them, and man, I think we had like 85 kids within a month.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wow.
And I had great workers working for me
Right.
too, like Terry Tripp Jr., who's a scout, and you know, some just heavyweights coming in. So it was a good operation.
So when that first opened, what was the age? When did you start?
Anywhere from 8 to 18.
8 to 18. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, some guys, some pro guys started coming in. You know, I think the proudest thing was probably the showcases we started.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember having the first one, and we're putting together, we're at Harrisburg High School. There's 25 colleges and 10 scouts there. Every single kid on the roster got signed and went somewhere.
Oh, wow.
And
that's huge.
So we tried to keep that going. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And nowadays there's so many of the showcases, so many of them. It's like, I can't charge $200 when maybe only 5 schools show. I've just never been about the money.
Yeah.
Money was good whenever I didn't care about it.
But at the time you did that, they weren't very prevalent.
No,
I mean, they were.
No, and I mean, like I said, I'm not into tapping yourself on the shoulder, but I can remember having it in a building. The first one, before we could get on the field, was in a building the size of a garage, and we had, 25 guys lined up, and we had to go outside to throw and bring them back in. And the colleges loved it because they didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So, I'm proud of that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Proud.
kind of on the beginning of that. You mentioned in your bio Scout School.
That was, so I was very fortunate. We got Terry Tripp Sr. from Harrisburg, who retired. I was kind of an associate scout, which, I used to wear the hat thinking it was a big deal, but he represented me. The Mets did to go out to Arizona for 10 days, and you learn how to evaluate guys. And once I saw the talent out there that we were evaluating, we went to Arizona Fall League game, and there was 12 guys that ended up in the big leagues on that one game, and I'm like, okay, there's more out there.
Yeah.
And when I came back home, I don't think I was ever going to be the same staying here. Again, no offense about this area, but I saw talent and I was ready to see it, man.
Just because you saw another level.
Yeah, another level, because Arizona's crazy.
What's the biggest thing you learned in scout school, like when it comes to evaluating talent? So obviously they had, this is a 10-day course or seminar or whatever it is. What is it you took from that said, this is something I hadn't done before?
The ranking of the players, where they stand in the pecking order.
Oh.
You know, it's like, you can say this guy's really good, but then, holy cow, I just saw this guy.
What separated players the most?
Back then, it was just natural talent, probably. Now it's size. I mean, it's just everybody's so big.
I know, right?
I could drive, when I was there, an hour around, and there was all kinds of 90 everywhere. You know, people would say 90 miles an hour here, but it was 85. Out there, it was legit, man. It was, because guys were going to Arizona State. We went to practice Arizona State, and it was just like, this is different level stuff, man.
So that did change the way you viewed things, probably for the rest of your career. Like you saw something, and you saw this level of talent. And then, what about the Cardinals? Tell me about the Cardinals situation.
So it was, I heard Dave Parker was the hitting coach. When he got the hitting coach job, that was one of my first big league games I ever went to, was to see him and Willie Stargell. And man, I just put a resume together and said, hey, this is what I'm about. I want to learn. I want to see what you guys do underneath. And I can remember some buddies that I grew up with were laughing like, what's he doing, man? Look at him. And they were pointing at me, and I handed it to him. I said, okay, he's going to go throw it away. Came back out. He said, hey, here's a number. Call him. And it just happened to be the year McGuire hit all the home runs. And, you know, what I learned underneath, because I'm a big before the game guy. Yeah. Once the game goes on, I can leave a Cardinal game and you can go, who won? I don't even know, because I'm watching the hitter so much. But that whole pregame BP stuff and in between innings, what
was your role?
I just threw BP. Yeah. You know, it wasn't nothing spectacular, but I would show up so early that there's one day in a cage and Willie McGee's there, and you know, just listening to those guys. And you know, I got to be on the field during BP. I didn't try to catch any fly balls because I would have missed them. But they would open up the stadium early, and to see those guys go about their business, like J.D. Drew, nobody ever talks about him, probably the best BP hitter I got to see.
Really?
But McGuire's just dropping bombs, you know. It was insane. Like that 30 for 30. Yeah. I lived that kind of, like a small part. I'm not overplaying my importance. I mean, we got paid $25 and 4 free tickets. I mean, Fred Bird was getting more than me, so I'm not very important. But I mean, that was pretty cool.
What a cool experience, though, right?
Yeah.
And so, was there ever an opportunity where you're throwing BP and you can see something wrong with someone's swing?
Yeah, but they told us don't talk to anybody, don't do anything. But after you warmed up a little bit, you knew who you could approach, who you couldn't.
I have to ask you this question because were there guys that liked what you threw, or were there guys that?
Well, yeah, because I started out with the pitchers, and they weren't getting any good BP at all. Nobody cared about them, so it turned into, I was kind of the last group. It was Ordaz, Polanco, Kelly. You had the same people. But McGuire was untouchable because he always had Dave McKay.
Oh, that was his guy.
That was it.
That's why I asked, because some guys are very particular about who throws in BP.
Yeah, they were. Like my guys were just happy because at that point in time, they were getting bad BP from broken down guys, and nobody was doing machines back then. Yeah. It's kind of a machine world now, a little bit.
Did you ever just decide you're going to heat one up and see how they could handle it?
No, man. I was in good shape then. I was throwing some good stuff.
How many balls would you throw, like before game?
Oh, it was kind of weak because I'd only throw to one group. I'm used to throwing 8 hours a day. Yeah. And I show up and I'm throwing 10 minutes and guys are tapping out, and I'm like, I can go all day, man.
How's your arm today?
Oh, it's terrible. It's shot.
It's shot?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I can throw from about 20 feet away.
Yeah,
It's not really the arm, it's the shoulder and everything
Right,
else,
yeah. I just suffered my first rotator cuff injury working out, and the doctor looked at me and said, well, part of it's you've spent the last so many years of your life throwing footballs. He said, you know, and it's a residual thing, like, you know, it's that had an impact on it. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm still accurate short-wise. I can't throw the ball deep anymore, so I kind of lost that. But the Cardinal thing's over. You go to Arizona. Am I right? Line drives of Arizona.
Yeah.
Another hitting facility.
Yeah, because I came back, and again, I had that itch, and I'm kind of a fate guy too, and I was working with a kid who was from there, who was playing at SIU, and it was two former big leaguers, Brian Harper and Steve Ontiveros, and if you look them up, they had tremendous careers, and I just wanted to get their intake on things, and got out there, and you know, it was spring training was out there, so I mean, I'm throwing BP to kids, and all of a sudden here comes Vince Coleman with his kid, and Luis Gonzalez kids were there, and Canerco, and not to try to name drop, it was just
I want name drops. That's great.
Illinois,
yeah, no, I love it.
and I'm going, well, Robin Yount's kid's hitting with me, and I'm like, man, don't hit him, you know, and try to put on a good show for him, and then, but to learn more than anything, and you know, to learn from Harper, he was a .297 lifetime hitter. He's in a World Series, and to get his take on hitting, and then Steve was a pitcher, an ERA title winner, and to see how he handled his business, and it was like, boy, some of these guys are different talent that we were dealing with, because Scottsdale's a hotbed, Phoenix is a hotbed, and it was just loaded with talent everywhere. And so that was good for me.
You and I'll run through some of these pretty quick because I want to get at some general baseball questions. But came back and you work at Hit Repair. You start that?
Yeah, started that.
So you're back here after those travels and those experiences. You're back here. What brought you back here again?
Family. I miss family.
Sure.
You know, we were going through a rough time losing Dad. But my family, my sisters, they've always been totally understanding of the fact that I might be here, but I'm cashed out. I'm always thinking, I'm always ready to go somewhere else and to challenge myself a little bit. And again, I want to bring stuff to Southern Illinois, but when I feel like I'm stagnant and stale and not challenging myself, that bothers me, you know, because I don't want to be better than you. I want to be the best I can be. And if you can help me do that, then I'm all about it. But man, there's drama, there's turmoil, and it's like, why can't we all just get along? Because that's what's best for the kid.
Yeah.
You know, and so,
has that been something you've noticed, though? A lot of politics, a lot of drama that follows?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I said this before. It's like, people, you think this is a big deal, but you know, I think the world of you, but in Alabama, they don't know me or you.
Yeah.
I go to Arizona, they don't know me or you.
Yeah.
And so as a player and as a parent of a player, you're sitting there, you're putting your kid on a pedestal, and you need to go to Vanderbilt camp, and you need to go, wait a minute, man, when you tell me this kid is special or unique, and I go down there and see a high school game where a Friday, one guy's at Stanford, one guy's a Vandy closer, there's 4 D1 commits. This is what you're up against, people. You need to be real.
I think one of the biggest benefits I found as a coach was taking my kids to camp away from here.
Absolutely.
Only because the main reason, well, obviously we wanted to spend some time together where, you know, you travel away from home and there's a bond that takes place because you got your kids 24/7. But I wanted my kids to be around other athletes and see, you know, there are other dudes out there that can flat play. We went down to Troy, Alabama, to a huge spread offense.
It's a great place.
And there were schools from Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and I mean, my kids got their eyes opened about, I thought I was good, and I am good for Southern Illinois or Illinois even. But I saw some dudes that were getting D1 offers at this camp from universities, and they were on everyone's top list. And so, yeah, I mean, it was good for my kids. I think it humbled them a bit, and when you're humble, you stay hungry. When you're hungry, you work harder, and I think it was beneficial to our kids to see that.
Well, I think around here, just go see Logan play Wabash Valley in a baseball game, and be real, and sit behind home plate and go, well, I thought I was special, but Petska's throwing 98 miles an hour, and listen, man, you can say exposure and try to do all this. If you're good, they're going to find you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah,
and
you feel like
there's 15 scouts and 20 colleges there. They're going to find you, man. And if you're unique and special, they're going to find you.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Thrillbillies. You spent last year with the Thrillbillies.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years. I'm sorry.
Very proud of that.
Yeah.
It was always a dream to get with Ralph.
Yeah.
We didn't know how.
Ralph Santana.
Ralph had a hitting place. I did. We never threw each other under the bus. We never clashed. We always had deep respect for each other. He told me what was going on. I was honored that he asked.
Yeah.
And the hard work is the thing I love the most, but it's also the thing that's made it where I can't do it anymore. But people would show up, they don't understand. We were there since 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're hitting, we're doing individual work, 5 o'clock's BP, the game. I can't give those guys that service anymore with my body the way it is, and so it's time to let somebody else do it. And the guys taking over are going to do a great job.
Yeah.
They are.
You said it was a great experience.
Great experience.
Black Diamond, the guys at Black Diamond, very supportive. You said they ran it first class, which I think is really cool for people to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, what they're doing, and there was great crowd support, and it's like, keep it up.
Yeah.
Because it's not pro baseball, and we're not loaded with SEC guys. We're loaded with hard-working, blue-collar, lower mid-level D1, D2. If they're no knock on the Cape Cod's the number one. If you got a chance to be drafted high, you're going to be in Cape Cod. But that league is so good. Yeah, so good.
You are currently at the United States Sports Academy. You are down in Alabama. So let's tell the viewers and the listeners what that is, Coach.
Well, it's the thing that appealed to me the most is one of my best friends is the head coach. But it's a startup program. We don't have to worry about NIL. We don't have to worry about guys leaving, hopefully, which who knows about that. It's confusing because it's an academy, but it is an accredited college. It's a 4-year school.
Yeah.
It'll be independent next year for a World Series, and then hopefully NAIA after that.
Gotcha. Your role there?
Hitting guy. Both of us are recruiting coordinator. A little bit of everything, man. That's what we both like at. It's a perfect relationship because I don't want to be a head coach again, ever. He likes that part of it. Put me in the cages, let me figure that stuff out. But I don't want to be in a building. I don't want to have an office. I don't want to deal with administration. I wasn't a good head coach.
And just to back up, you were the head coach at Rend Lake for a while.
Yeah, and I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
I'm not good dealing with all that stuff. I know that.
Well, that's okay. I think it's important that coaches know where their lane is, and I think that's a pretty humble thing to admit. But I think it's crucial to knowing what kind of coach you are and what kind of coach you want to be. I've had a lot of great coordinators in the football business say, I either never want to be a head coach or I did it and I don't ever want to do it again because it just didn't fit them, and that's okay.
Well, I like the feeling of having your back as the head guy, but also having the kids know, hey, I'm one leading you in the battle. I'll take your jabs, but hey, this is all about the head coach, man.
Yeah.
We all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
So mostly Alabama talent, or are you getting?
We're trying to branch out. We brought a couple kids down from here, and it's like, I don't mean this egotistical. We don't have to recruit Illinois. I want to. I want them to benefit from it. Because I'm 40 minutes from the ocean, the greatest beach in the country.
Yeah. You said you can drive 40 minutes and just be in the ocean.
Yeah, on the Gulf Shores. It's in the baseball. You're going to get everything we got every day.
Yeah.
So you can go and wonder what your role is, or you can go where you got a shot.
Yeah.
But Alabama, yeah, I'm telling you, I was at a high school workout the other day. There's 47 varsity high school kids on the field.
My goodness. Yeah.
And there's like 5 that were big dudes, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think I saw a D1 6'2", 205 is the average Division I baseball player.
Is that right?
And that's not talking about the first baseman that I worked camp with at Vandy that's 6'5" and runs a 6'5", 60 and 250 pounds.
It is amazing the way that all athletes have changed in size in every sport. Even since I played, since you played, it's dramatic the change has taken place.
Well, and I don't know how many David Eckstein stories there are anymore, you know.
I don't either.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But like when people call me and say, hey, my kid really is a gamer, he loves baseball, I know where that's leading. I know he's my size when I came out of high school. And man, we like those kids, but you know, the days of bunting and working that and playing old school baseball, I love it, believe in it, but a 3-run homer, you know, just wipes that out totally. You can work your butt off for an inning or 2 innings, and if you got a power pitcher that's, you know, you can bring in, he's throwing 94, hey, good luck. I mean,
tell me some general baseball questions. What's the best part of coaching for you? What's your favorite part? What element is it that
I guess it's got to be the hard part, to get your small victories a little bit. That would also depend on what level you're at. You know, I always said, you know, if you put on my tombstone what I did, maybe I made the 7, 8, 9 hitter relevant.
Yeah.
And the 3, 4 a little better. Yeah. But the high school coaches knew they didn't have to work with that guy that you know, made himself relevant. Because if you're a D1 baseball guy and you're hitting with me once a week, I'm not really sure how much a difference I made, you know. And I know I did a little bit, but that was more slider work, what pitch selection you're on. If you're D1 talent, you're D1 talent.
Yeah. Are most baseball issues with a hitter, are they just small things that they need to?
Yeah. So minuscule. Like the technique part, it works when you get fastball in your head and account. What are you going to do with that? Like, we're into a day and age where I watch everything. You know, I look at all the new stuff, and it's exit velo, and it's how hard you can swing. Well, how are you going to do that when that cutter comes or that slider down and away? There's still going to be something to the fact of 2-strike approach. I just got to put balls in play. So we can teach that perfect technique all you want to, but you know, good pitching, it's going to beat it.
Yeah. Most challenging part of coaching for you?
I think it's, obviously we've touched on a couple points. Being real was tough. It's tough for people to say, oh, I can go here, or I can go there. The rules now of recruiting have changed so much that the portal has destroyed it. It's made it no fun. There's 5,000 kids in a portal right now. If you're in high school, those guys are on the phone with portal guys right now. They're going after 22, 23-year-olds. There's no loyalty. There's no accountability. Hopefully we have that with a new program. The guys are going to come after our guys eventually. I know it. That's what's changed. It's a business.
Yeah.
And parents, you better believe it's a business.
Yeah. You and I had this conversation 2 years ago about the changes that were coming and the challenges of the portal and NIL. And, you know, so I know that it's even more so than it was 2 years ago when we started that conversation. So I don't envy those of you navigating those.
And I could be at that level. I've had change. That's not bragging. I've turned stuff down years ago that would have put me in those positions, and I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah. Coaching philosophy. This may be it may not be a good question, but what's a hitter's approach? Is there anything that jumps out at you? If I come to you and say, help me with my hitting. Is it just everybody's individual issue, or do you have a hitting philosophy for each of the people you work with about making contact? Or
I think it's hunt fastballs first, but each guy's going to be different. I think it's easy with YouTube and with everything you can do. You can find every drill you want, and you can say this is how you need to hit. But pick out what the cause is, not the effect. You know,
gotcha.
it's easy for me to say you're pulling your shoulder. Well, what's causing that? What kind of approach do you need to take care of that? I think that's the. If you think you know it all, you don't, man. Because if I knew it all, the Yankees would be calling me. There's somebody better. You know, like when I moved back, some people say it was a great lesson, you're the best. No, I've been around some of the best, and man, they're really good. And I'm just trying to learn from them, you know, and you don't know it all. You can't figure this game out. You just really can't. My biggest philosophy, get on first base.
Find a way to get on,
Find
right?
a way. And if you've got 9 guys that believe in that, that's Harrisburg way.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 0-0 in the 4th inning, you can bet 7's bunting.
Yeah.
You know, the next guy's taking one, steal, and then pretty soon you're in the pen, and Harrisburg beat us again, 8-0.
Yeah. This question's not. I kind of send out talking points so no one's surprised by, but not specifically, but just some general ideas. And I wanted to ask this question. It wasn't on the talking points I sent to you, but watching Cardinal baseball, I watch almost every night, and I see a particular young player who's in a terrible slump and he's striking out constantly. I feel like he's not making any changes to his approach. Do you watch baseball and get frustrated? I'm not a hitting coach.
I don't watch Major League much because I can't have our guys relate to that. ESPN Plus has been the greatest thing because I can come home and watch any SEC game, but I can watch mid-level D1, I can watch Grand Canyon College, and I can go back to our kids and say, you should see this approach, and then I can bring that back up. But big league, man, no matter what they do, those pitchers are still like unbelievably good.
I guess my question is, it's frustrating for me to think that it doesn't look like he's changed anything, but he's still,
But you got to understand that he's probably doing what he's told.
Yeah.
He's doing what the organization is telling him to do.
Yeah.
You know, what hitting guys are telling them to do. They're wanting them to be something, and they want to be something else.
It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, well, I don't even watch them anymore.
I was going to ask you which players you like to watch. I asked your old coach, Jay Thompson. He mentioned,
I saw that.
Yeah.
Same guys. Harper,
guys.
you know,
Mookie Betts, he mentioned.
Trout, and I got to see Mookie, you know, work out a couple times, and it's different, man. I mean, him and McGuire, guys to see Sonny Gray work out is different.
Yeah.
You know, you can't relate to those guys. You can't. You can't. Mookie Betts' hands are so quick that it's blurry. Every time he swings, you can't follow him.
Little old guy, not very big.
No,
He defies all that. You got to be this.
Twitchy. He
Oh,
just
but man,
twitch.
he can play anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about when I went to high school and played Legion ball. I think about when you grew up a little bit later than me. How's the game improved, or what is the biggest improvement you think in the game between our eras and today?
I think, well, I mean, it's scouting reports, it's advancement, you know, there's certain part of analytical that you can say you hate it, but you better pay attention to it. You know, old school, new school. I mean, I think the advancements are nutrition, weightlifting.
Yeah.
There are a lot of smart people out there. You can, but I also think, I sat and listened to 2 JUCO coaches last week. One of them's been in the World Series 4, one of them 7, and they're like, I hate the way baseball is now. I wish it was like it was 10 years ago. And those are legends, man.
Yeah.
Those are, so I think it's got to be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I look at baseball today, and I know there's a lot of criticisms of that analytical stuff, and no one's playing with their gut. They're going by what the computer tells them to do, and I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But I know there's criticisms of that. But it's a real thing.
Well, the guys that, again, I sat at a table about a year ago with the Reds pitching coach, the Phillies pitching coach, the Giants hitting coach, who's a Red. That humbled me quick. You know, I'm sitting there listening to those minds talk, but it's old school field with new. That's why they have assistants with them. You know, the pitching guy never played pro ball. Derek Johnson, he's the Reds pitching guy. He spent a lot of time with Cal at SIU. He's like, hey, I'm going to lean on my assistant to help me out with the analytics, but I still got to go on my field.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's the best pitching coach in the big league. So it's a mixture.
Yeah. Pitchers today, the inability to go long, like you see how Bob Gibson could throw complete games, and is that just the new baseball? If you can throw 5 or 6 innings, we're good. That's considered.
That's what Sonny did for the Cardinals.
Yeah,
you know, and
I mean, is that? But that's not going to change, is it?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, the middle relievers, you never know their names, but they're so good.
Yeah.
Like they come in and their stuff is so filthy, and you don't know who they are. No kids got their posters on their wall, but it's like, bam, bam, bam. Why would you want a starter to go 7 when you have that in the bullpen, and then you have your closer who's going to wipe it out?
Yeah. I know you read a lot about all the innings Nolan Ryan threw and all the innings, but I don't think that's ever coming back.
No, and I don't think they have to, man.
No.
I just don't.
Young pitchers. So I hear a lot of criticism of we're overthrowing our young pitchers growing up. Is that an issue? Are we throwing too many breaking balls early? Is that?
I don't know, man. When our arms hurt, my dad's advice was go out next day, throw, it'll get numb, and then you'll be okay. So we didn't know any different.
We slapped icy hot on our elbows.
Yeah, we didn't care. What good did that do? But hey, now I still think that long toss, I coached some teams over in Puerto Rico and asked them, they were beating our brains in, and they're like, you guys play too much, We work out for 6 hours a day. We take ground balls. We work on pickoff moves. They're not playing as much as we do. And that is care. I mean, on the travel ball circuit, and if you're pitching a kid on Friday and then you're bringing him back on Sunday, I don't know. I'm not an arm expert. I'm just pitch everybody.
Yeah.
Get 10 guys that can pitch and pitch them all.
Yeah. You've had a really interesting career, Bobby.
Yeah.
You've done a lot. You've seen a lot, and I appreciate you sharing all the different places you've been and all the I think all the people you've absorbed information from made you the coach that you are, and it's a really unique story that I think it's unique to our area because so many people. Is no judgment, but most of us, like myself, never leave the area. This is where we grew up. This is where we coach. And you've had that unique experience of branching out into other places and seeing the big picture. Man, I appreciate your willingness to come in and share that today.
Well, thank you so
much. And I think
Thanks for being here.
It was a story that I knew as soon as I started this. I said I want him on to tell kind of his perspective, and I know it's not baseball season. Spring training's not coming.
It's always baseball.
But it's all. But to you, that's right.
It's
that's
always.
Right. It's funny because football coaches say the same thing. It's just what season? Off season, preseason.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you sharing today, and it's always just great to see you.
You too.
I want people to know that I worked with you closely for a year, and I say this, and I mean this. I thought you were a kid magnet. The kids in that school loved you. The teachers loved you. Kids gravitated to you. And this was non-baseball. Baseball kids did, of course. But there was a non-baseball kids that I noticed gravitated to you. And you cared about them as people, and they knew it.
Well, that comes from my dad and mom, my upbringing for sure.
Well, I want you to know it made a difference.
Well, thank you.
And to a lot of kids in that building who didn't maybe have a connection or relationship with a teacher or faculty member, I felt like you filled that void, and you filled it well, and it was pretty awesome to see.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank Ross and Abby again. I want to thank Crown Brew. I want to thank my buddies at Adrenaline. And as we kind of end the part 1 of season 2, I got into this, and I wanted to shine a light on what these coaches are all about. I had no idea they would be this good. I didn't have any idea how many great I thought I knew how great the coaches in Southern Illinois were and how blessed we are to have people like Coach Simpson around for so many years. And I've got a great bunch of coaches coming in the spring session of season 2, and I hope you'll keep tuning in, keep watching, keep listening, and I'm open to suggestions for people you want to see, and I appreciate those coming in. But I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.